Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books. What a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together. What a yummy snack.
Good morning or afternoon, whenever it is that you are joining us for this episode of PBJamz. I am very excited that you are here, and I'm very excited that Becca McMurdie is here. She is an agent sibling of mine, and so we connected because Joyce represents both of us. And when I read her book, Build a BEAK, I was like, oh, no, wait, this has an unusual musical connection, and I would love to host you on PBJamz. And thankfully, she said yes. And so here we are. Welcome this morning, Becca.
Thank you, Tani. Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
It is morning for us, but have no idea what it is for you. But whenever it is, thanks for digging in with us. And we're gonna dig into this beautiful, really, really beautiful in every way. The illustrations are beautiful, the story is beautiful, the writing is beautiful. Like everything about this book is just precious and wonderful, and it is a feel-good story like no other. Well, I say like no other, but actually, Becca, when I was reading this book, are you familiar with Jolene Gutierrez?
I am. Yes, because she
Yeah.
has a whole book about animals that receive prosthetic
does.
limbs. Yes.
Bionic Beast, which is also wonderful, and it's very similar, although hers I think is a middle grade, and it has several stories in there.
Photographic middle grade, yeah.
But yeah, if you liked that book, Bionic Beast, you're gonna love Becca's book. And if you enjoy Becca's book, then you also should go check out Jolene's book for some other stories that are similar. But I love the illustrations and the story of this, and I love that it is written for younger kids on a level that they can access this really sweet and amazing story. So let's talk about the story. Where and how did you get the inspiration for this story?
So in December of 2021 and January of 2022, for those 2 months, I was on sabbatical from my job in New York City, which at that time I was an elementary school principal at an elementary school here in New York City, which is where I am right now. And I was on sabbatical and I was living in Costa Rica. I rented a little cabin in the middle of the cloud forest in Monteverde. I was doing some volunteer work with a school nearby. I was going on long hikes every day in the rainforest and doing lots of writing. At this time, I was pre-agented, pre-published, pre-everything. And I was on a bird watching tour and I saw my first toucan, which they are just such beautiful creatures. And the guide, the bird watching guide, mentioned that there was a few years prior a toucan in Costa Rica that became injured and received a prosthetic beak. And I just thought that sounded really interesting. And he said, yeah, everyone knows the story, knows about Gracia. He didn't go into the details of the story, but I just thought it was interesting. So I went home to my little cabin that night, and I was researching it, and I found out that actually yes, there was this injured toucan. It was actually injured tragically by humans, unintentionally, which makes it even more heavy, almost too heavy for PB, but I think there's enough lesson in the story to make it work. And then a lot of different types of people and scientists came together to not only help the toucan, but the whole creation of the prosthetic beak and the fact that it was able to live happily and comfortably for the average lifespan of a toucan in the beautiful sanctuary of the rescue center that saved it. But it also inspired an environmental animal welfare protection law that is one of the main reasons why Costa Rica has one of the most protected rainforests on earth. So it was this story of this terrible thing happening and showing the horrific things that humans are capable of, but then also all the love and compassion that humans are capable of, and how we can actually make things so much better for the future and learn from and redeem ourselves from the terrible things that we do and that happen. And so once I read about all of that, because there were a lot of articles about it, I felt like I could feel this emotional arc to a nonfiction story. And I was like, maybe I can write nonfiction, because up till then I was writing only fiction.
Oh.
So and the animal rescue center that had saved Gracia was only a few hours from where I was living. So, and I was still going to be in Costa Rica for another 6 weeks. So I emailed, and I was pre-agented, pre-published, and I just said I was I was a writer. I heard about the story. I thought it would make a great children's book. Would they be open to me visiting or to an interview for that purpose? And to my surprise, they said yes, and they invited me to come visit. So I came to visit Rescate Wildlife Rescue Center, and interestingly, like a week before I came for the visit, Gracia died of natural causes. So she passed away peacefully. So I never got to meet her. But I did get to see the team that took care of her. I got to go behind the scenes and see sort of the ICU and animal rescue center. I was behind double glass, so the animals couldn't see me, but I could see them, because there's a lot of efforts made to rewild them if it can be released. And so they want to minimize their contact with humans. But I really was so grateful that they were so open with sharing the story with me. And then they just asked that, you know, if this story did get published, that I sort of share some of the wealth with them in return, so that they can keep supporting their work with animals, which I, of course, did and am doing and will continue to do, because I'm so grateful for their work, not only to help Gracia, but to then inspire this law that protects the rainforest, which is the lungs of the earth. And then, of course, it ended up being the story that also, you know, got me an agent, and then it is my first published story. So it really that's how it happened. And I'm just so grateful. I'm going there next week to do some promo events with Rescate, which is right outside of San Jose in Costa Rica. I'm very excited about it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is so exciting. Yeah. How nice to be able to give back a little bit to an organization that's doing really great things to help animals and help the earth. And that's awesome. That's great. And you know, I think it's so amazing where story ideas come from, you know, as we're just going about our daily and just run across these amazing story ideas. I'm glad it took root and that you wrote it into such a beautiful story. Is there anything else? So you've talked a little bit about the writing journey and the publication journey. Is there anything about either of those things that you want to elaborate on a little bit more before we move on?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, before I even heard about this story and then wrote it, I had been writing, and I was in critique groups, and had been querying for about a year before, 9 months to a year before I even heard of this story. And then it was sort of a few more months before that story was done and ready. And I actually met my agent through PB Party, which Mindy Elise Weiss, who's now a really good friend of mine, runs, which is a beautiful opportunity if you don't already know about it. As an author, it's an amazing opportunity and can literally change your career trajectory, as it did mine. But it is also, even if you don't get into the showcase, it's basically a public webinar or workshop for anyone else, because how it works is there are usually 1,000 entries or so, and then the top 50 are selected to be in a public showcase where agents and editors can request the work. But since it's public for a 2 to 3 week period in March, anyone can see how the queries are written and the story samples, and what agents are requesting and what they're attracted to. And I had actually used the PB Party entries from the year before to learn how to write a query letter and to figure out a unique hook for a story. And so I was excited then to apply to submit my work to try to get into PB Party again in 2022, which I did. And I got in with this story, which at that time was called Saving Gracia. And then that's how I landed both Joy Sweeney, my amazing agent, and Kayla Tots7, who was the editor of this project at Page Street, had also requested it through PB Party. So when I signed with Joyce, after she requested my work at PB Party, she then immediately went on sub, included Kayla in the sub round, who then acquired it pretty quickly, actually. So once we got rolling with it. It was a pretty quick process. Still had to wait 2 years to see the actual book. But that's actually pretty quick, 2 years in, in publishing time.
Yeah. Publishing is ever so slow. We were just talking about how, probably at least half, if not more than of our author life, we spend waiting on something. So yeah, it's a long way. Even though it happens quickly, it's like that, I think, in publishing. Like it's hurry, 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 fast, 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 and then wait. And then hurry, 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 fast, 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 and then wait. So it's really a big cycle. Yeah, so fabulous. Before we move on and before I forget, let's do a shout out to the illustrator. Can you show us the book and do a shout out for the illustrator?
Yes, Diana Hernandez. So Diana Hernandez is the illustrator. She lives in Heredia, Costa Rica. I'm gonna meet her next week when I'm there. I'm so excited. We had connected on social media once she was selected as the illustrator. I also just so appreciate that Page Street was intentional around the selection process in really wanting to sign a Costa Rican illustrator. So they did a search, and we were so lucky to find Diana, and so lucky that she agreed to illustrate. But yeah, she's the one who did these beautiful, and I'll even show you behind this dust jacket, there's this beautiful image. She has these that shows sort of the design of the beak. She really did a great job. Yeah, I'll show you a few pages. Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, so we've talked about kind of behind the scenes, how things happened. Let's talk about the music. We are on PBJamz after all. So let's chat. So I think people would think, what in the world is Building a Beak doing on a music focused show? So let's talk about that, because it's there. It is there.
So I'll start with the opening line of the book, which the music part of the opening line was in the original manuscript. Obviously, that opening line gets critiqued and edited more than any other line in the book, but the music part of it was always there. So here it is, just the opening line I'll read. High in the Costa Rican treetops, a toucan named Gracia soared from branch to branch, picked berries, preened her feathers, and sang for all the creatures of the rainforest. So there's this opening image of her singing, which I love hearing toucans sing. It was so exciting to me once I knew what it sounded like, because toucans do like to, when they're singing, they're usually perched somewhere up high, so that they're going to be visible, because they're usually like calling out to a mate and they want to be able to see, or calling out to a family member or something. So you usually are able to find them if you can hear them. So I would get so excited when I would hear them, and all the other creatures can hear them too, because it's very loud. So I had this image of her singing, and then I used throughout the book the idea of singing as a symbol for the idea of using your voice. So once Gracia's beak was severely injured, she could no longer sing. But then, actually in the original manuscript, it was that she could no longer sing, and then she eventually got the beak, and then she could sing again. And then even other people started singing for her in terms of advocating for the rainforest. And I use that as a metaphor. In one of the revisions I did with Kayla, she wanted to weave that in further. So there's the refrain comes back in the middle before Gracia has her new beak, when the protests for the environmental and animal protection laws were happening, when it hadn't been passed yet. And it was that the people started singing for Gracia because she could no longer. People started singing for Gracia and all the other creatures of the rainforest, just as Gracia was doing at the beginning, because she could no longer do it herself. So it was really this idea of singing as you have a voice and you can use it to uplift others.
Yeah, I love that. And then it comes back, of course, at the end.
Yeah.
And so also kind of
she sings when she gets the new beak. That was one of the first things she did when they put the new beak on, and it worked.
And I love that. I love that's how, and it was also, I think, symbolic of her healing as well.
Yes.
Right? So you have this thread running through where music signifies our voice and how we can share that, and how we have a responsibility to share that too, right? Like there's an opportunity, but there's also responsibility. And then also this idea of music as healing, which is very special to
Yes.
me. And it kind of resonates with
Yeah.
me because it's also a theme that kind of runs through my book that's going to be coming out in 2026. That idea
Yay, I
of
cannot
music
wait.
planting
Yeah.
hope and healing, and just the multifaceted nature of music and how it impacts us, not only as human beings, but also as birds and as plants and all the living creatures, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love that.
music really is universal, and not
Yes.
just for us as people, but
Yes.
for the
Yes.
other kingdoms as well in our world. So I love that singing just running through. And I have never heard, and I probably should have looked it up, and I haven't. I have not looked up the Toucan song, so I'm gonna have to do that. I will
Yeah.
include that in the playlist that I
Oh,
put
that would
in.
be great. I'll
Yeah.
just show you at the very end of the book when so this is after, spoiler alert, she does get a new beak and it works. So then she has her beak, and she could still, she was never able to be released back into the rainforest, but she could still perch on branches, pick berries, bathe, preen her feathers, and of course sing. And around the world, people continue to sing for her and all the creatures of the rainforest. And it shows people caring for the rainforest, but there's these little musical notes
Right.
in the pictures. I hope it's okay that I did that little spoiler alert, but
It's fine.
because the story is still the story, but I think there, yes, the music is healing, and using your voice, even when other people don't have theirs, can help them
Yeah.
heal.
Yeah, I
I think
love
that's
music as an analogy for all of that. That is so beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned, because in down below in all the links and stuff, I will include Toucan songs so we can all hear, maybe not Gracia, but certainly some Toucan
I
sing.
can send you one of Gracia, actually, and then
Oh,
you can
can you
include it. Yeah,
really? Oh,
I
that
have
would be
one. Yeah.
awesome.
Yep.
How fun.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Love it. So before we move into before we move into the last question, two things. So first off, is there anything else that you would like for us to know about the book that I haven't asked?
One thing that's really fun that Diana did is on every rainforest image, there's this beautiful little bug that's like somewhere. I just love those little
Oh, how
secret
fun.
things
Yes,
in books.
Easter
So if
eggs are
you want to
super
have
fun.
fun and you're reading this to a younger kid, I know that stuff can be really fun. On every page that has a rainforest setting, including in the sanctuary, find the little beautiful bug, because the bugs in the rainforest are so cool, by the way.
I bet they
I
are.
love the bugs.
I
They
bet.
sing
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the year of the cicada broods,
Yes.
the two broods, and they're simultaneously. So it's supposed to be a humdinger of a summer for cicadas. So yeah,
Yes.
I love the bugs too, except mosquitoes. Not a big fan of the mosquitoes.
No, yeah, and they don't sing, so they just
And they
buzz.
don't sing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
PBJamz has no room for mosquitoes.
yeah.
Probably somebody's going to come up with a mosquito singing book, and then I'm going to have to eat
And then
those.
you'll have them on PBJamz. I know. You'll
Yeah,
forgive.
it'll happen. Yeah. So before we get into the very last question, I just want to say that Becca has generously offered a winner's choice critique, and I'll put information about it down below. But she's going to offer your choice of either a signed copy of the book, which would be fabulous, or if you would prefer, if you're one of my writer friends and you would prefer, then she will do a critique of a manuscript, either fiction or nonfiction. So stay tuned down below. Check that out if you're interested, and if you catch us in the window for which that's applicable. And so we're going to move to the very last question to talk with Becca about what's new, what's coming up, what's in the pipeline, what you want us to know.
Yeah, so I have a very exciting unannounced project that is nature themed, to a multi-book project coming up.
Nice.
No, those are really the details I can share at this point, but I'm very excited about it. And it was inspired by my 2-year-old nephew and his love of jumping in puddles. So again, inspiration literally can come at the randomest times
Anywhere,
and
yeah.
moments of your life. And so if you follow me on social media, I'm at Becca McMurdie Books on Instagram. You will be the first to know.
Nice. Yeah, and all those socials, her website, links to the book, all that's going to be below as well. We're going to try to make it very easy for you to find Becca and all the fun things that are coming her way. And stay tuned and look around because she is actively launching Build a Beak. It just as we're recording this, it just came out this week. And so I'll be posting the episode, I think June 20th and 27th is what we said. So that it's coming, and she will still be actively launching as this airs. So stay tuned, keep an eye out, and maybe you can catch her live and in person.
Yes. In fact, if this is coming out on June 27th, I will be having 2 book launch events at bookstores in the New York City area. So one at Sleepy Hollow Bookshop, lovely all children's bookstore in Sleepy Hollow, New York in Westchester County. And then that's on July 9th. Tuesday, July 9th around 4 p.m. I think that's the time, 4 p.m. You can check Insta. And then on July 20th, I'll be at Q and Willow Books in Queens, New York at 3 p.m. And both those events will be story time events with a connected art activity. I'll read this book and do some toucan related art. It'll be very fun. So come join if you can.
Yeah, and Becca's book is a great for my teacher friends who are tuning in. This book is a great book to introduce some STEM or STEAM activities because engineering is heavy in this book. Like it's a huge part of this book. So the engineering part of STEM or STEAM, this would be a great kickoff or great related STEAM activities to go along with this book too.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's
I'll
a
be
great
looking at all that.
Yeah, there's a great teacher's guide that's on the Page Street Kids website. Really, really well done. I didn't make it myself as an educator. Right. I got a chance to see it, and I can send it to you, Tani, if you want to share that as well.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share that link. I always try to link
STEM connections, lots and literary connections as well, even and music connections.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll be posting my own little teacher's guide as always down below. So be sure to check out those tips if you're teaching. Yep. Music teachers, regular teachers, classroom teachers, daycare, any of the things, family, homeschool, great tips are coming for all of you, as well as some writing prompts that are not just for kids, they are for anybody. So check out all that. And I always like to remind you to support our authors however you can, and it doesn't require money, although Becca would love for you to buy a copy of the book. And probably if you read the book, you're going to want to buy a copy of the book because it's just beautiful and lovely and wonderful. But in addition to that, you can also leave reviews on Amazon, Goodreads, and Barnes and Noble. And you can request her book at libraries and bookstores in your area. And you can also shout it out on social media. And I think word of mouth is also like just one of the best. So if you know someone who you think would enjoy this book, maybe they are a young science teacher, a science teacher for young children, or daycare workers, or any primary elementary school teachers would love to get their hands on this book. It makes a great gift. As school starts in August, it'd be a great gift to give to your child's teacher. So yeah, word of mouth is the greatest, or buying copies for birthday presents and teacher gifts and all that. So anything you want to add to that, Becca? Any other thing I missed?
I co-sign all of that. You covered it.
Okay, good deal. So I hope you're going to support Becca in all those ways, or any of them that you can. And thank you so much for joining us, audience. And Becca, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Tani. This was so much fun. I appreciate it.
So fun to talk about Gracia and this beautiful book. Y'all check it out. Check out all the fun stuff below. Make sure you get in on that giveaway. By the way, in order to do that, all you need to do is to leave a comment here on the blog, and I will put you in the drawing, and we will draw a happy lucky winner at the end of her episode air date, which the episode will stay up. You can keep watching as long as you want, but we will end the giveaway just before the next episode airs. So you guys take care, and thank you for joining us for PBJamz, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz. you next time.